أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إنا أنزلناه في ليلة القدر وما أدراك ما ليلة القدر ليلة القدر خير من ألف شهر تنزل الملائكة والروح فيها بإذن ربهم من كل أمر سلام هي حتى مطلع الفجر صدق الله العلي العظيم اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وسلم أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم اللهم إني أسألك برحمتك التي وسعت كل شيء وبقوتك التي قهرت بها كل شيء وخضع كل شيء وذل لها كل شيء وبجبروتك التي غلبت بها كل شيء وبعزتك التي لا يقوم لها شيء وبعظمتك التي ملأت كل شيء وبسلطانك الذي على كل شيء وبوجهك الباقي بعد فناء كل شيء وبأسمائك التي ملأت أركان كل شيء وبعلمك الذي أحاط بكل شيء وبنور وجهك الذي أضاء له كل شيء يا نور يا قدوس يا أفضل الأفضلين ويا آخر الآخرين اللهم اغفر لي الذنوب التي تهتك الإسلام اللهم اغفر لي الذنوب التي تنزل النقام اللهم اغفر لي الذنوب التي تغير النقام اللهم اغفر لي الذنوب التي تحدث الدعاء اللهم اغفر لي الذنوب التي تقطع الرجاء اللهم اغفر لي الذنوب التي تنزل البلاء اللهم اغفر لي كل ذنب أذنبته وكل خطيئة أخطأتها اللهم إني أتقرب إليك بذكرك وأستشفع بك إلى نفسك وأسألك بجودك أن تغنيني من قربك وأن توزعني شكرك وأن تلهمني ذكرك اللهم إني أسألك سؤال خادع متذلل خاشع أن تصامحني وترحمني وتجعلني باسمك راضيا قانعا وفي جميع الأحوال متواضعا اللهم وأسألك سؤال من اشتدت فاقته فأنزل بك عند الشدائد حاجته وعظم فيما عندك رغبته اللهم عظم سلطانك وعلى مكانك وخفي مكرك وزهر أمرك وغلب قهرك وجرت قدرتك ولا يمكن الفرار من حكومتك اللهم لا أجد لذنبي غافرا ولا لقضائه ساترا ولا ولشيء من عملي القبيح بالحسن مبدلا غيره لا إله إلا أنت سبحانك وبحمدك ظلمت نفسي وتجرعت بجهلي فسكنت إلى قدم الذكر قريبا منك عليه اللهم مولاي كم من قبيح سترته وكم من صالح من البلايا قلته وكم من إثار وقيته وكم من مكروه دفعته وكم من ثناء جميل لست أهلا له نشرته اللهم أعظم بلائي وأفرط بي سوء حالي وقصرت بي أعمالي وفقدت بي أغلالي فحبسني عن نفعي بؤل آمالي وخلقتني الدنيا بغرورها ونفسي بجنايتها ومطالي يا سيدي فأسألك بعزتك ألا يحجب عنك دعائي سوء عملي وفعالي ولا تفضحني بخفي ما اطلعت عليه من سري ولا تعاجلني بالعقوبة على ما عملته في خلواتي من سوء فعلي وإساءتي ودوام تفريطي وجهالتي وكثرة شهواتي وغفلتي وكن اللهم بعزتك لي في كل الأحوال رؤوفا وعلي في جميع الأمور عطوفا إلهي وربي من غيرك أسأله كشف ضري والنظر في أمري إلهي ومولاي أجريت علي حكما اتبعت فيه هوى نفسي ولم أحترس فيه من تدبير عدوي وغرني بما أهوى وأسعده على ذلك القضاء فتجاوزت بما جرى علي من ذلك بعد حدوده وخالفت بعد أوامره فلك الحجة علي في جميع ذلك ولا حجة لي فيما جرى علي فيه قضاء وألزمني حكمك وبلاؤك فقد أتيتك يا إلهي بعد تقصيري وإسرافي على نفسي مغتبرا نادما منكسرا مستقيلا مستغفرا منيبا مقرا مذعنا مقترفا لا أجد مفرا مما كان مني ولا مقصدا أتوجه إليه في أمري غير قبولك عذري وإدخالك إياي في سعة من رحمتك اللهم تقبل عذري وارحم شدة ضري وفكني من شد وفاقي يا رب ارحم ضعف بدني ورفقة جلدي ودقة عظمي يا من بدأ خلقي وذكري وتربيتي وبري وتضحيتي أميل ابتداء كرمك وصالح برك بي يا إلهي وسيدي وربي أترواك مؤجل بنارك بعد توحيدك وبعد من طوى عليه قلبي من معرفتك ولهج به لساني من ذكرك وعتقده ضميري من حبك وبعد صدق اعترافي ودعائي خاضعا لربوبيتك هيهات أنت أكرم من أن تضيع من ربيت وتبعد من أبنيت وتشرد من آويت وتسلم إلى البلاء من كفيته ورحمته ولا تشكري يا سيدي وإلهي ومولاي وتسلط النار على وجوه خرت لعظمتك ساجدا وعلى ألسن تقدت فيك صادقا فبشكرك ما بها وعلى قلوب اقترفت بإلهيتك محققا وعلى ضمائر هبت من العلم بك حتى صارت خاشعة وعلى جوارها سعت إلى أوطان تعبدك طائعة وأشارت باستغفارك مذعنا ما هكذا الظن به ولا أخبرنا بفضلك أنت يا كريم يا ربي وأنت تعلم ضعفي أن قليل من بلاء الدنيا وعقوباتها وما يجري فيها من المكاره على أهلها على أن ذلك بلاء ومكروه قليل مكثور يسير بقاؤه قصير مدته وكيف احتمال لبلاء الآخرة وجليل وقوع المكاره فيها وهو بلاء تطول مدته ويدوم مقامه ولا يخفف عن أهله لأنه لا يكون إلا عن غضبك وانتقامك وسخطك وهذا ما لا تقوم له السماوات والأرض يا سيدي فكيف بي وأنا عبدك الضعيف الذليل الحقير المسكين المستكين يا إلهي وربي وسيدي ومولاي لأي الأمور إليك أشكو ولما منها أبد وأبكي لأليم العذاب والشدة أملت للبلاء ومدته فلئن صيرتني للعقوبات مع أعدائي وجمعت بيني وبين أهل بلائي وفرقت بيني وبين أحبائك وأوليائك فهبني يا إلهي وسيدي ومولاي وربي صبرت على عذابك وكيف أصبر على فراقك وهبني صبرت على هر نارك وكيف أصبر عن النظر إلى كرامتك أم كيف أسكن في النار ورجائي عفوك فبعزتك يا سيدي ومولاي أقسم صادقا لئن تركتني ناطقا تأتي الجنة إليك بين أهلها ذوي جلال ولا أصرخن إليك صراخ المستصرخين ولا أبكين عليك بكاء الفاقدين فلنادينك أين كنت يا ولي المؤمنين يا غاية آمال العارفين يا غياث المستغيثين يا حبيب قلوب الصادقين ويا إله العالمين أفتراك سبحانك يا إلهي وبحمدك تسمع فيها صوت عبد مسلم سجن فيها بمخالفته وذاق طعم عذابها بمعصيته وحبس بين طباقها بجرمه وجريرته وهو يدج إليك ضجيج مؤمل لرحمته ويناديك بلسان أهل توحيده ويتوسل إليك بربوبيته يا مولاي فكيف يبقى في العذاب وهو يرجو ما سلف من همه أم كيف تؤلمه النار وهو يعمل فضلك ورحمتك أم كيف يهلكه لهيبها فأنت تسمع صوته وترى مكانه أم كيف يشتمل عليه ضفيرها فأنت تعلم ضعفها أم كيف يتقلقل بين طباقها وأنت تعلم صدقها أم كيف تزجره ضبانيتها وهو يناديك يا ربا أم كيف يرجو فضلك في إتقه منها فتتركه فيها هيهات ما ذلك الظن بك ولا المعروف من فضلك ولا مشبه لما عاملت به الموحدين من برك وإحسانك وباليقين أقطع لولا ما حكمت به من تعذيب جاهدي وقضيت به من إخلاد معاندي لجعلت النار كلها بردا وسلاما وما كان لأحد فيها مقرا ولا مقاما لكنك تقدست أسماؤك أقسمت أن تملأها من الكافرين من الجنة والناس أجمعين وأن تخلد فيها المعاندين فأنت جل ثناؤك قلت مبتدئا فتطولت بالإنعام متكرما أفمن كان مؤمنا كمن كان فاسقا لا يستوون إلهي وسيدي فأسألك بالقدرة التي قدرتها وبالقضية التي ختمتها وحكمتها وغلبت من عليه أجريتها أن تهب لي في هذه الليلة وفي هذه الساعة كل جرم أجرمته وكل ذنب أذنبته وكل قبيح أسررته وكل جهل عملته كتمته أو أعلنته أخفيته أو أظهرته وكل سيئة أمرت بإثباتها الكرام الكاتبين الذين وكلتهم بحفظ ما يكون مني وجعلتهم شهودا علي مع جوارحي وكنت أنت الرقيب علي من ورائهم والشاهد لما خفي عنهم وبرحمتك أخفيت وبفضلك سترت وأن توفر هب من كل خير تنزل أو إحسان تقبل أو بر تنشر أو رزق تبسط أو ذنب تغفر أو خطأ تستر يا ربي يا ربي يا رب يا إلهي وسيدي ومولاي ومالك ربكي يا من بيده ناصيتي يا عليما بالضر ومسكنتي يا خبيرا بفقري وفاقتي يا ربي يا ربي يا رب أسألك بحقك وقدسك وأعظم صفاتك وأسمائك أن تجعل أوقاتي في الليل والنهار بذكرك معمورا وبخدمتك موصولا وأعمالي عندك مقبولا حتى تكون أعمالي وأورادي كلها وردا واحدا وحالي في خدمتك سرمدا يا سيدي يا من عليه معولي يا من إليه شكوت وأحوالي يا ربي يا ربي يا رب ربي على خدمتك جوارحي واشدد على الأزمة جوانه وهب لي الجد في خشيته والدوام في الاتصال بخدمته حتى أسرع إليك في ميادين السابقين وأسرع إليك في المبادرين واشتاق إلى قربك في المشتاقين وأدنو منك دنو المخلصين وأخافك مخافة الموقنين وأجتمع في جوارك مع المؤمنين اللهم ومن أرادني بسوء فأرد ومن كادني فكد واجعلني من أحسن عبيدك نصيبا عندك وأقربهم منزلة منك وأخصهم زلفة لديك فإنه لا ينال ذلك إلا بفضلك وجدك بجودك وعطف علي بمجدك واحفظني برحمتك واجعل لساني بذكرك لهجا وقلبي بحبك متيما ومن علي بحسن إجابتك وأقلني أثرتي واغفر لي ذلتي فإنك قد وعدت على عبادك بعبادتك وأمرتهم بدعائك وضمنت لهم الإجابة فإليك يا ربي نسبت وجهي وإليك يا ربي مددت يدي فبعزتك استجب لي دعائي وبلغني مناي ولا تقطع من فضلك رجائي واكفني شر الجن والإنس من أعدائي يا سريع الرضا اغفر لمن لا يملك إلا الدعاء فإنك فعال لما تشاء يا من اسمه دواء وذكره شفاء وطاعته غنى ارحم الرأس ماله الرجاء وصلاحه البكاء يا سابغ النعم يا دافع النقم يا نور المستوحشين في الظلام يا عالما لا يعلم صل على محمد وآل محمد وافعل بما أنت أهله وصلى الله على رسوله والأئمة الميامين من آله وسلم تسليما كثيرا اللهم صل على محمد وآله.
Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters. Welcome to today's program. In the program, the first part of our program is the general body meeting for the Islamic Center of Zara. Is Brother Hvac, I think. While we're waiting for him, let's start the program with the recitation of prayer. Start. So, من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إذا جاء نصر الله والفتح ورأيت الناس يدخلون في دين الله أفواجا فسبح بحمد ربك واستغفره إنه كان توابا صدق الله العلي العظيم. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد. Inshallah, next up we have the presentation by the Board of Trustees of Islamic Center of Zara. Please, with a loud salawat, let's invite Brother Hvac Asif to come and share the agenda for the meeting. Of course, with your loud salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. सामने रखना
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وبه نستعين وهو خير الناصر والمعين. Dear brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I welcome you to the annual general body meeting for the year 2021. Thank you for coming here on site and you have joined online as well. thank Asim Bhai for taking the role of MC. Okay, my bad. So here is our journey for tonight. We start with introduction. We move on to the financials, the financial status. Absolutely. Am I blocking?
I think it's okay now. People can move.
Okay. So we move on to the financials, the financial status. Then we get a look at the achievements. We share what our goals are for the year. And we conclude with the Q&A. So let's start with the broader themes that we have encountered in the past 11 plus months now in this year. The first, the most important one being the DOT election that we had in March. We had 5 new board members elected to replace the board members whose term expired. And alhamdulillah, I have to say, the new team members are very energetic, come fresh perspectives, fresh ideas, and have hit the ground running. Although quite a few of them are like first timers, but alhamdulillah, they have been doing a great job. While the pandemic hammered all of us, the whole world actually, but the team members rose to the occasion and have been executing relentlessly. We have come up with a 3-year plan to take the community to the next level. We are trying to address all the segments of the community, but the focus is, of course, on the youth who are the next generation. They are the leaders for the next generation. We have to pass the baton on to them. I would be remiss if I did not mention Syed's efforts, who has been putting tremendous efforts in providing the leadership and guidance that we need as a community. Let's take a look at the org chart, just to get the picture clear. All of us know about it, but as a review, my name is there over at the top. Then we have Hvac sitting over there. He is the secretary. Doing the brunt of the work, mashallah. We have Hvac, as you know, handling the most important part, which are the financials. We have Brother Messam Raza sitting over there. Samir, you all know what's doing there. So Sherwan sitting right next to her. And we have Brother Zishan as a trustee. I put the color as orange for a reason. Brother Zishan is a healer. He's moving out of this area, so he'll be leaving the community probably in a month or so very soon. In the context of departments, as we know, for the operations, we have divided the team into 5 different departments. Put there in the order of the alphabetical order. Administration, Brother Massim leads it along with Zishan Jafri. In the context of education, it's a pretty big one. We have programs and a school, inline, kids and ladies, and a whole bunch of different committees. So we have a team that leads it. We have I'm there with Zishan Jafri and Sister Samira. We have Azabite leading the Department of Finance, Hvac driving the Department of Technology. Last but not the least, Sister Sherban leads the social activities department. Before we go to the next segment, which is the financials, I want to thank the whole team from the bottom of my heart for their amazing work that they have been doing, along with the committee managers and volunteers. Alhamdulillah, I cannot say how blessed I am, and it's amazing the amount of effort they put in. They go above and beyond to do whatever it takes to serve the community. Please recite aloud salawat for all the volunteers.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
Survive for the financials.
So, most of you know, almost half of you know, my name is Asad and I'm leading the Department of Finance as a treasurer. So I'm here to give you an update about the current state of affairs. Our for monthly recurring there's a breakdown of our monthly recurring income and expenses. So our donations are monthly recurring donations. Our currency donations are $10,300, and monthly recurring expenses are $11,500. So there is a almost deficit of almost $1,200 a month. That is only the recurring expenses. That does not include some of the other expenses, which are mostly sponsored by the community members, and this also does not include the community support or other things which come in the later slides. Here is the 2021 year-to-date status. This is as of October 31st. So that does not include November and December. So as you can see, our cash at hand is almost $450,000. I have broken it down into the general donations, community support fund, as well as funds we have for education, which is like Sunday school, different programs for the youth or women empowerment, career counseling, and those type of things. Donations year to date so far, general donation is almost $570,000. Community support, we have received $131,000 or almost $132,000 in terms of community support. That includes homes, and also people have donated for the community support, especially during the last 2 years of pandemic. And education, we have almost $170,000 received. Expenses in terms of broken down into the programs, building and operations, that includes some of the security upgrade which we have done, and for that is almost $87,000, and out of which $55,000 actually we have received grant from the federal government, which we have used. Community support, we have spent almost $170,000. So as you can see, the expense is more than what we have community have donated. That extra came from the general donations. And then in terms of education, we have almost $20,000 expense so far. Based upon our goals, which we'll discuss in future slides, there is a projection for donation and expense for the year 2022. So our projection is almost $1.5 million donations, and also there is a breakdown of expenses for programs, building and operations, community support, and education. Next section is achievements, and first slide belongs to me, so bear with me. So as Brother Asif just mentioned, like for the last 2 years, the whole nation and community has suffered a lot because of this COVID pandemic. But Alhamdulillah, and by the grace of Allah and Shahada Masumeen, and with the support of community, we survived. Not only we survived, we actually continued all of our services for the community, and we have supported several projects. And first and foremost is the community support projects, where we ICZ has supported more than 20 families for almost more than 6 months, and ICZ is still supporting families within the community, and almost 95% of them are local from the Bay Area, where ICZ is providing support in terms of housing, groceries, educational expenses, and other things. We have managed to cover all the operational expenses that includes like programs, building up the maintenance and all those type of things. HVAC and security upgrade projects are going on. Security upgrade, like 2 of the 3 major projects have been completed. There is 1 left, and HVAC is also undergoing, which you will see very soon. There's a lot of demolition and a lot of work going on around the building, inshallah ta'ala, which we are planning to finish, and probably Gadandas and provide more detail about it. And as well as you all heard about the full-time school, so we have secured some funds for the initial phases of that, which inshallah that we'll talk further about. Now I will put it back to Brother Asif.
Thank you, Zaman. Okay, so let's talk about the programs. So typically we have like the programs divided into 2 buckets. We have the core programs and we have the education programs. And while we were under COVID, the teams, I have to say, there are lots of teams that come together to bring programs to the community. They have been so creative, mashallah. With the continued support of the community, unflinching support, the teams have brought in programs that we would have imagined during such times. So we had Majalis to commemorate the Shahadat of Anwar Salam. Especially like we had programs for Shabi Ashur and Roze Ashur at Mughals. Then we had the special mention goes to the Al-Bayn Walk. It was the first in the Bay Area. And alhamdulillah, we had attendance from all the centers in the Bay Area and outside. And then we had Mahafil for different occasions for Bilada and different occasions that are important, Eid and all. For Eid prayers, we had outside outdoors prayers for Eidain, and then we had Eid Salah inside indoors for Eid al-Adha. And then we had Amal for special nights and days like Shabi Qadr, Shabi Mi'raj, Shabi Barat, and also like Roze Arafah, alhamdulillah. The other important thing which is very dear to my heart is the Quran quiz. Alhamdulillah, we have been doing this consistently, and it's a special thing for us. Alhamdulillah, in the centers. And alhamdulillah, we've been having the quizzes on different topics, and the participation has been great, mashallah. If you recall the last one we had in-house here indoors, where there was a lot of people who participated, mashallah, very eagerly. And it is an affirmation and a confirmation of our commitment to the Hadith al-Saqalain, which is Kitab Allah wa Ikmati Ahli. Alhamdulillah. When we go to the education programs, in the past we have had a lot of programs from education perspective, but because of the circumstances, we didn't have so many of them this year, but we did have, we are having currently the continuous history of Islam course that is conducted every Thursday, which is a solid foundation course for all of us alike. And we have a workshop coming up next week on death and barzakh, to be conducted by Mawlana Sheikh Amin Rastani. We look forward to having you all in that workshop, inshallah. With that, I invite the next barzakh for the
Assalamualaikum everyone. I'm Nassim Raza. I oversee the ICZ Department of Administration, and I'll go over the team's achievements inshallah. So to start with, ICZ applied and secured a grant of $94,000 from the Cal OES, which is the California Office of Emergency Services. It was granted under the and a non-profit security grant program to improve ICZ security and surveillance. Credit goes to Brother Jafar Mohsen, Brother Amanat Mir, Brother Zulfikar Rizvi, and Police Officer Brother Abbas for their efforts to complete the funding package. So with this funding, we have been able to complete 2 projects successfully. One of them is the installation of high-strength security films on the glass windows on both sides, as well as the entry door. We have also installed security cameras inside and outside the ICZ building for surveillance. We do have more plans, projects planned with remaining funding, which we'll be working on in future, inshallah. Another milestone that ICZ has been able to achieve is the work permit for the Hvac project. There were major delays primarily due to COVID, but thanks to Brother Jafar Mohsen and Brother Zulfikar Rizvi, who worked really hard with the contractor, with the designer, and the city. And then thanks to Brother Muhib for his final push to make this happen. So we are now working with the contractor, working on the initial plan to kick off the project as soon as possible, inshallah. You'll inshallah see within this month. Coming to the third point. Yeah, so with our plans to expand our programs and to introduce more services by ICZ, we have started looking for new facilities. We have been working with the professionals from our community to communicate with the city and the county to understand the requirements as well as potential obstacles. We're still in the initial phases. We are looking at the properties and will inshallah update the community as we make more progress. I would also like to recognize other committees that are under the Department of Administration, transitioning from virtual to an in-person / virtual programs wouldn't have been possible without all these committees, the volunteers, the teams. We had to do a large-scale cleanup to make the facility ready for the in-person programs. I really appreciate all those volunteers who showed up, spent full day to clean up the mess that was there in the days of pandemic. The core committee, we all have seen brilliant work being done by them, beautiful decoration. The kitchen and the Tabarruk teams, they really did a great job, especially during the Ayam Azan, safely and efficiently distributing the Tabarruk. So with that said, I would like to thank again the leaders, the teams, and the volunteers of these committees for their great efforts. MashaAllah, may Allah bless them all. And that will be it from my side. Assalamu alaikum. Please recite a loud salawat.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
Walaikum assalam.
Like you all know, my name is Samira. I help ICZ with the ladies committee, the kids and the youth. And the ladies committee this year, we did the first time with Northern America centers, allowed centers, online session for the department with others since it was COVID time and everything was shut down. We also dedicated some listening to BD Zainab this time, and inshallah, there's a plan. We will try to do more events on the life histories of different Imam and their family, the BD partner, BD Zainab, the planetary governments, inshallah, which is upcoming. Inshallah, we are also trying to see if we can increase our programs for like Quran tafsir and all. That was for that. Next is the Kids Youth Committee. We have a very mashallah, we have a very active youth board. They have programs almost every month with Sayyid, mashallah, with his guidance and his leadership. We are doing programs where I see people attending from different centers, and other than that, we are mashallah also doing a lot of things for the community where we did a plan. We were like 25 grocery bags in collaboration with NCC and gave to our refugees. We did event, we did a blanket drive where we gave more than 250 blankets to different homeless to different shelters for the needy people. We gave iftar to a open mosque. We did a community iftar and eat this drive through for the kids, and a lot of other events they have been doing. Mashallah, they did a movie night recently. They have also done 2 different back to school drives, and as with the kids committee, we try to have parallel programs with the main events that ICZ has. We, mashallah, the kids committee published their own budgets for Muharram and Ramzan, and we did in pandemic, we did an online wayfinders for kids from the age of 9 to 13. We did an online program for them, which was we did only like on trial basis for like 4 months or so. But inshallah, with the coming year, we are trying to start that again for the in person this time, inshallah, the wayfinders, because those kids need more activities in masjid. With this also, I would like to thank everybody for the support, doing these programs, all the sponsors, all the parents who help us in different events. MashaAllah, thank you so much.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
Assalamualaikum. I'm trying to serve as a lead on Department of Social Activities. Really thankful to all the volunteers and managers who've been working hard despite having their own commitments to life and day jobs. Really thankful to, especially to all the volunteers whoever I picked up the phone and reached out to, were always ready to come and help. We've performed, tried to perform a couple events up until the time we've been into this role. Huge shout out to all the managers who conducted various programs despite the condition and situation we've been in, given COVID and the safeguards and the safety measures performed. Some of the programs I'm going to name a few of listed, not all, but a few have been Afghan refugee assistance. That's an ongoing program. We've had a billboard set up on the same day at 21 South. Annual interfaith iftar, and then we had Al-Quds Day, Al-Baqi Day, and Hussein Day. It was an online program. We've also had ICZ Eagle Fitr Carnival, annual ICZ picnic, which always is a huge hit. We've celebrated Eid al-Zahra at Central Park and collaborated with youth and other departments and other committees like senior and matrimony. Also, we've had Ramadan healthcare session where we had invited panel doctors to talk on COVID-related issues. Compilation of data and matchmaking is in progress. Senior bingo evening was also one of the great programs we've had on premises here. And then Ziara group tour, which is ready to set off on December 19th. A few shout outs that I really want to touch upon is Amna Nakri, who took on a huge endeavor of compiling all the ICZ related pictures, all the events that had pictures, and then she created collages for the new website. Also, Zoha Raza, she single-handedly, she went ahead and had the game night She facilitated it, and it was also a huge hit. And there were a few other programs, but a few enhancements I'd like to touch upon are I'd like to have started working on this. It's in the pipeline. I have a proposal to get ready and have it passed through the POT and then go on to Malana and then present to the community. And that is trying to bring on the academia side an ongoing round-the-year academic sessions carried out by a renowned female scholar. So once that whole process is streamlined, we'll get more details on that. Also, even on revision or enhancement, it's very near and dear to my heart, and I've been hearing people approaching me and talking about it, and that's like having a senior housing within the premises of our center. So that's something food for thought for all of us. It's a huge undertaking, but I guess it's a time of the time. I feel every day that it's a very huge responsibility, and I ask Allah to help us all through this. We try, wherever we fall short, I ask for forgiveness, but I really would want to have the support of all the community to take this forward. This is, I believe, not for us, but for the future posterity to take it forward. I do not want to see our youth coming here only for mingling or for meeting on madrasas, but also they need to come here for their social activities, find partners. This is the center where we should create a conducive environment within the parameters, within the Islamic guidance for them, and then also for the seniors. So we're trying to inculcate as many programs as we can to keep them engaged. Yes, that will be that. And thank you once again for all your support. You guys can do it. Thanks.
Secretary of the Board. Presenting here on behalf of Hvac, who is not here with us tonight. Unfortunately, we have some other commitments and was about to say we will be in the course. So in terms of areas of education, one of the biggest events is that a new principal at Central School has been engaged, which I think folks are highly qualified and three grades within the Central School have moved to a hybrid model. So some days, some of the classes are online, some are in person, and then initiated efforts in the area of starting a virtual library for ICZ. So it is kind of a two-fold thing, it's digital transformation as well as education is covered, so you will be able to find books online through different languages. So those collections are in progress. And then, of course, we need to have an app, etc., etc. But you'll get more details on the efforts and so on. And then this will be my question. Technology. So, as you would recall, during the election process, we committed to the community that we will digitally transform ICZ. There are several areas, it's a long-term effort, but many steps have already been initiated. First of all, we have converted all of the ICZ business to Google platform. Many thanks to the Hvac and whether usability, they helped with it, at least in the decision-making process, and then the Hvac actually implemented it. So what you now see is, you get an email from an ICZ official. It will have like for me, it will say Mohammed ICZ.org. Previously, people were using their private email addresses for ICZ business. That situation has gone. Now, every official ICZ person has an ICZ email address, which gives the recipient the satisfaction of external communication source. As well as data security is important for us. We have acquired space on Google Drive, which are shared drive or unshared, as the case may be. However, it's a part of the Google platform. Where we are transferring all the data and all the committee information, all the secretary information, all the information from the president or the board of trustees is now stored
on Google Drive in a very separate format, and we constantly monitor it. We'd like to see things like that security. Lastly, we have started the website development process. So the vendor has been engaged to develop the website. They have actually submitted their first draft, which we have seen. We have got a long way to go. We can make revisions, we will be making revisions, and we will also transfer some of the content on the existing website to the new one. However, our goal is to provide our community a one-stop shop for all digital needs through the website. So like sometimes you get information in an email, sometimes you get from WhatsApp, sometimes you look at the calendar, you go to another app, you look at your master and somewhere else. All of that will be consolidated into one place, which will be your website. So all the forms that sometimes you get emails with fill out a form for something, register or unregister, with your account for the borough, etc. All of that will come through that website. Our goal is to bring that website to life within Q1 of 2022. So hopefully we will be able to meet it with the last lesson in the terms. That's the launch. And I think that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Hvac, for the update. Also, you've seen the work that's been done by all the team members, mashallah. I'm so ever grateful to all of them for the wonderful work they are doing. Mashallah, may Allah bless them all. Please recite out salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
So what are we trying for as goals? So we sat around and prioritized the goals that we have, and then we have come with two categories of goals: short-term goals that fall in 3 months or 6 months time frame, and then we have long-term goals. So within the short-term goals, we have you can see the board of text there. That's the P1, the priority number 1. It's cold, so we need to get the HVAC system fixed. So we're replacing that with the Mason gave the dates. Alhamdulillah, we have the permit, and we have been given the plan or the demolition, getting the units, putting them up, fixing the ceiling with the light fixture, etc. We are planning to, inshallah, get this thing done hopefully by Ramadan, hopefully inshallah. But it will come out inshallah. The second one is the audio, video, and live stream improvements. We have seen the issues with the Muharram programs, so we have taken a hard look at that, and the team is working on this particular subject to address the issues. Complete digital transformation, as Mohammed just mentioned. And then the next two are the ongoing goals that we have to do, and especially with the big ticket items that are coming up, we have to increase ICZ membership, and of course, then the fundraising part. Open all the Sunday school classes in person, and of course, add more valuable programs, enriched programs across the board in different committees, different teams. Be it adults, kids, youth, and seniors, social activities. So all the areas basically. In the long-term goals, which beyond 6 months to a year time frame. So we feel this thing that we can't really have all the varied programs, the large-scale programs here at ICZ. We have to go hunt places to have like Shabi Ashur program. We have to do moments. Rose Ashur program moments. Anytime we have to do a program, say it's outdoors, then we have to go around with the whole team, not just the BOT members, but also like managers and team members. Go look for parks, go look for other places. So if we have to go to the next level, we have to have a bigger facility. And not just that, we won't have, like just to share, mentioned about providing a facility for youth to come here and enjoy, have different activities. Play games, for example, basketball, things like that. So we need a bigger facility. If you have to go to the next level. So we are looking at different facilities. We have been looking at properties. We shortlisted one property. We are looking at it. I will be sharing details shortly with you. Up next, I think I would say this is the biggest concern for anyone who has kids. Right? We always think about how to protect the deen iman of our next generation and the future generations. It is such a huge deal. I'm sure everyone has this on their minds. So we have to have a full-time school that provides this Islamic environment. So we're helping Academy set up that school. We have more updates coming up, hopefully soon, inshallah. And then we put the next two items, which are the ongoing ones, as you all know. Finally, there's another project to have a virtual library for ICZ, so that everyone gets a chance to read books online, whether it's about Islam or history or other areas. With that, we conclude our presentation part. And again, I thank everyone here who's here on site and people who are online, and of course, the whole community for their continued support. It's our, not the second part, the first one. This is where we are all aligned, and then this is where we are connected. This is where it is about an offer mission, right? So with all the help that everyone has been pitching in, please recite Hvac for everyone, including you. We move on to the Q&A section now.
Okay, so this is how we're going to conduct our Q&A session. So there's two ways you can ask a question. You can stand up in your place and I'll come to you and you can ask the question. You can send it to us via Slido. You can go to slido.com. The event code is 0786. Easy to remember. Go to slido.com and send your question to 0786. With that, I request all of the Board of Trustees please come up front so they can address any questions that are asked. Right. Do we have a question in the hall? Again, you can raise your hand. I'll come to you. You can ask a question, or you can go to the website slido.com. Event code is 0786. We have our first question. So basically, we are looking for new facilities, right? So we have
we are getting close to that. But at the same time, we have a lot of improvement plans for this facility. Have you considered the timelines where it may not be worth spending the money there? rather than there for the facility?
So, regarding the improvements for this facility, the main project is the HVAC project, which is actually a need. And we are hoping to complete it within next 3 to 4 months, ideally, if everything goes smooth. Regarding the timeline for the new ICZ facility, that's more like a long-term goal, which in one of the studies for like maybe beyond 1 year. Secondly, one of the sources that we're going to use to finance the new facility is selling this property. And with the new HVAC system, that's going to help us get more money out of this facility. If we do not do that, then the price will be really less compared to if we get that. So that improvement is really going to help us to keep continuing our programs, which will be doing that at least for the next year, inshallah. And then when it comes to the point of selling it, we'll inshallah get more money.
Jazakallah for that answer. Do we have another question in the room? So, when we had the election, there was a lot of talk about encouraging diversity in the community. Frankly, there isn't that much diversity in the community. What steps are we taking to encourage other communities and other people from other backgrounds to participate, and what can we do to make it more accommodating? Anybody can answer.
It's a great question. Thank you for asking. So yes, we want to have diversity. We want to bring in people from other communities. So what we have done is we have some steps that we have taken. Number one, we have formed an Arabic committee led by Brother Muhammad Muhsin. So we are, so Brother Muhammad Muhsin, probably you all know him. We've been driving the Quran quiz competition, so he's driving that part. For Farsi, for Persian-speaking brothers and sisters, we formed a Farsi committee. We had Brother Muhammad, yes, Brother Muhammad as the lead on that. However, he moved back to Iran for good. So we are looking for a brother who can drive that. So those are a couple of things that we have involved on to bring in brothers and sisters from the communities.
And just to add on a little bit to that, like if you notice. Okay, so if you notice, when we are doing our program now, the scale has really gone up. Last time we were just doing, okay, so you program, let's just do a program. We're trying to collaborate and come up with movie advertising. We're advertising far and wide. So we're starting off, let's say, different centers, not only Shia, but also Sunnah, and we go on to further. Like we're going to have a senior program with the schedule for 12/12 this weekend. However, it got pending. It's impending now because of the weather conditions. And we were going to extend it out to our Jewish and Christian brothers and sisters as well. We would want to have a vision of a center which is diverse, where which is a place where other brothers and sisters are welcome, Jewish and Christians, and also we'd like to visit their center if they are invited in ours. And also, like I understand from your perspective of having other diversity from other centers. We're trying to just advertise more and more.
Jazakallah for that. That's a beautiful one. Next question.
My question is regarding the operating budget. It is moved from 3,000 this year to about 4.5 million next year. I mean, that's what you guys are proposing. And proposing that, I just want to know that's 5 times the current budget.
Actually, if you look at the numbers, like even within this year, our total donations are almost $800,000. So that includes a lot of other projects also. And the projection is based upon like 20 to 25% increase in the membership as well as donation, fundraising, and support new projects. For example, if you're going for the full-time school, you're going for new facility, so for the down payment and all those things. So that includes all those factors.
That's good. Good. But I think the community would like to see more details when you're expanding from point A to point B. The second question I have is, we know that we have, when we have the tax strategy, are we planning on doing it now, or are we planning to limit to the public sector?
Yes, so again, that's also sort of like a strategic question, or the thing which we always consider when we talk about finances or meetings. So the idea was that when we refinance that, so idea is to pay it off within a year, but we held it on purpose. Number one, like if there are so many things there's so many moving parts, so many things in flux. So for example, we're looking for new facility, the Hvac project, and there's something else, some other things are going on. And so that's why we decided not to pay it off for now. And, but again, probably in next quarter or beginning of the year, we have another meeting, so probably we'll discuss it.
I would say have a serious consideration on it. Get over with it. That's just a community members ideas.
Thank you.
Do we have another question in the room? So while you're thinking, let me start with questions that I've been receiving in Slido. It's again slido.com. So if you are sitting at home and listening to us, or if you're in the room and would just like to post your comments via Slido. Slido.com. The ID is 0786. So the first question in Slido is, once the Enlight Academy is launched, what will happen to Sunday school? Will it be kept separate or become a part of the academy?
I think that we are there. We have to make that decision. This is a very strategic item, and you know, we need due consideration to make a call, but no decision yet. There, and you know, my personal opinion would be that Sunday school should continue, because not every kid will be able to go to that.
Right, the question was, will Sunday school become a part of Life Academy or stay separate? Wasn't the question of will the board continue? They will both continue.
That decision was not taken. Not to my knowledge.
So they will remain separate, so it will not be merged into Enlight Academy.
So I am relaying the questions, but the questions are really coming from the next question. What is the plan to pay off that? The question was already asked and answered. The question was on the loan payoff. Last time. Next question is, are the funds for Sunday school derived from general member donations?
No, actually, Sunday school, basically, as we all know, if those kids are going to Sunday school, they charge fee and they pay for all their expenses. So it covers all their expenses. So general donation, so far, Sunday school did not need any funds for the general donation.
Are there any questions in the room before I go back to Slido to ask the next question?
Are we part of Sabah Islamic Center? Are we associated with them or we work with? You know, Sabah Islamic Center? Is this together as one group, like Sabah Islamic Center? So it's just a thought. The Sabah Islamic Center is a youth center. I live in San Ramon. And most of the time, this center is closed. So I have to drive all the way to San Diego. My thought is, since they have a lot of youth support, I don't know how the process works. But I believe that there will be a communication between this center and Sabah Center. Since we have very few Shia centers here in the East Bay, it will be very helpful. I have seen these say it one time at the Sabah Islamic Center. I don't recall his name Hadi. Yes, so that means there is kind of a communication. There's a lot of Shia mosques here, like Sunni mosques, brothers, they are everywhere, open 24/7. I know that's about like the support we get from somewhere. I'm not into that process, but I would love, and I think people would love to see that, like if there's a communication, there will be stronger support. Like you guys have a plan in a place for the bigger center. They do have that there already with the school, and it's a huge center. So if we can get this in between the two and have like improve even the future plan that we have, probably guys thinking about like, I don't know, about like 1 acre, half an acre, whatever, it's just an example. If we will have a bigger center, that will be very helpful and that will attract people, brothers everywhere. And I have seen some brothers come to that center. So is there any way that we can get that communication in between?
So when you say communications, we are always communicating. So it's not that we work in silos. So there's constant communication at all levels, with all teams. It's not that we are a separate entity and we are, in terms of organization, we are, but communication channels are always open at every level.
I need to work together to get the organization under one and have bigger support. That's what
Well, we have two different entities for all intents and purposes. So for administration, running a place, we need a separate organization. But in terms of working together, we work all the time together. So yes, it's not that we don't complicate.
Can we take some time to have more follow-up to the board of questions? The Abbas is the president. The next question is, why doesn't ICZU get funding directly from ICZ treasury?
Separate person.
No, actually, that's not true. As general donations can be used for any, or they are being used for all parts of the community, like seniors, youth, women, or general programs or anything. So if the Easy Youth Board comes with a program, And first, of course, they try to raise funds for themselves, and otherwise, if there is a shortfall, yeah. So I see the funds from ICZ funds can always be used, and they have been used for that purpose.
Next question. Has the board considered renting part of ICT or other means of generating income? You're always dependent on member donation.
Since the beginning, actually, when this building was bought, that is a thought. There are certain suggestions. I remember when we were buying, this building is being bought and being considered as part of the board at that time also. So, and one of the reason this building was chosen because it has a lot of private offices, and there was some suggestion to rent it out to some daycare or community center, because the community services projects, because most of our programs are in the evening, so during the daytime we do them too. So, but so far, so there were certain suggestions, but so far they have not been materialized. But probably when we move to the new and bigger facility, yeah. So that is again, that is one thing to consider, how to generate funds.
The next question was already discussed before, so I'll skip it. It was about Summer Center and Hvac, how we can collaborate with them. We've already addressed that question. I'll skip it. The next question, I guess, is for Brother Mohed. Is ICZ going to improve the live stream quality, such as adding 4K live stream?
So I cannot technically comment on converting to 4K streaming because we are dependent on the ISP services which are available in this area. Unfortunately, Pleasanton does not have fiber in this location. So 4K may not work not at this time, but in future separate. Now, as far as the rest of the components of live streaming go, they are on a project that is on the site after HVAC. That is our second top priority, considering COVID. So we are working on the project. We did secure our first estimate, which was extremely high. So we are looking at other options to make improvements not only on live streaming side, but also inside the facility. So all of that work will be done as part of the project, and the goal is it sits in the 3 to 6 months component. So hopefully by June of next year, we should see visibility of this.
That was the last question, and just on time. The general body meeting portion of our program today was scheduled to be between 8 and 9. We started at 8:01 and we are ending at 9:01. Please recite a loud salawat for our board of trustees who've been working tirelessly to improve the center. Next up, I will invite our Mudarris to please come and address this matter. Your loud salawat.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Tomorrow is 5th of July, anniversary of the birth of Sayyida Zainab sallallahu alayha. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us the tawfiq and ability to follow the legacy and the teaching of Hazrat Zainab and her family, inshallah, the tawfiq of her ziyarah in our lifetime with another salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. It's an honor and a privilege to be with my dear brothers and sisters at Islamic Center of Zahra, and I'm happy that I was partially part of the general body meeting and listening to alhamdulillah the short-term and long-term plan. May Allah inshallah assist all of you and your endeavors and your additional inshallah efforts to serve the community and the Muslim Ummah, especially the Shia community. And may Allah accept it from all of you with sincerity and ikhlas, inshallah. I will not take a lot of your time because it's the Wilad of Hazrat Zainab. Once again, I would like to ask all of you to honor Hazrat Zainab sallallahu alayha wa nabi sallallahu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. الحمد لله الذي لا بداية له والدائم الذي لا نفاد له والأول الذي لا أول لأوليته والآخر الذي لا مؤخر لآخريته ثم الصلاة والسلام على خير خلقه وحبيبه حافظ سره ومبلغ رسالاته حبيب إله العالمين أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد. اللهم صل على محمد صلى الله عليه وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المكرمين سيما بقية الله في السماوات والأراضين. قال الله تبارك وتعالى في القرآن الكريم: بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. فبشر عباد الذين يستمعون القول فيتبعون أحسنه أولئك الذين هداهم الله وأولئك هم أولو الألباب. صدق الله العلي العظيم. صلوات على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. Zainab bint Ali alayhi salam was born in the city of Medina on the 5th year after Hijrah in the city of Medina in the household of Imam Ali and Fatima al-Zahra, peace be upon them. And on the 5th of Jamadi al-Ula, this child brought knowledge, eloquence, bravery, and wisdom to the family of Bani Hashim. There's so many titles that Hazrat Zainab is known by, but some of the titles is specifically regarding one quality, and that is the quality that is called Aqidah. So her name is Zainab, which means the beauty of her father. In Arabic language, it's very common that there are alqab, there are titles, that there's an indication of the personality, the characteristics of the person. And for Hazrat Zainab, there are numerous qualities, numerous titles and alqab. There's one that specifically stands out, and that's Aqidah. Aqidah means then intellectual, wise. One is Aqidatul Nubuwwah, intellectual woman from the legacy of Prophet. Aqidah Bani Hashim, again, intellectual from the family of Bani Hashim. And that quality is pretty much the topic of tonight and what we can learn from that quality. I always try to be very specific on the topic because when you spend time listening to any lecture, it is important after we leave we asked this question, like, what was the talk about? What did I learn? What was I listening to? If I walk out and there were so many scattered pieces of information, you will have difficult time to recall and remember. And with that is, again, it comes the idea of forgetfulness and nisyan. So in order to avoid that, again, the topic of tonight, because it's the Walad of Zainab is tomorrow, is to talk about the concept of aql. And aqila means the intellectual, and aql means intellect. One of the very prominent books of tradition in Shia teaching, in Shia belief, is Usul al-Kafi. If you, again, we don't have sahih, we don't have sahih in a sense of 100% authentic, but we have books that are considered primary or prominent in books of tradition. And in Usul al-Kafi, there are multiple volumes. The first volume of the book is the book on aql and jahl, the book on intellect and ignorance. And then in this book is a collection of traditions about everything associated and related to the topic of intellect and ignorance. And then, of course, beautifully, there's a second that is called Junud al-Aql, which means the agents of wisdom, the agents of intellect, and agents of ignorance. And Hazrat Zainab is known for that quality for a reason. First of all, when you look at her childhood, she is known for narrating tradition and hadith. One of the famous traditions we have, as you know, Fatimiyya is around the corner, is the speech or the sermon of Hazrat Fatima in the defense of Imam Ali alayhi salam. And the one who narrated word by word is Hazrat Zainab. Ibn Abbas is a very prominent narrator of hadith. When he is narrating sermon of Hazrat Fatima, he says that حدثني عقيلتنا زينب بنت علي. Our aqila, our intellectual woman, narrated me this hadith, and then he narrates the sermon of Hazrat Fatima. And at that time, Hazrat Zainab, at the time of that sermon, she was only 7 or 8 years old. And years later, as she grows up, she is someone who is a teacher for the people, especially for the women in the community. And later on, you can see the pinnacle of her eloquence in the lectures or speeches that she defends the status of Ahlul Bayt and Sayyid al-Shuhada al-Salam in Kufa and Sham, which are those lectures and those words are the beginning of the trembling and eventually the downfall of Bani Umayyah and the Yazid. So that knowledge and aql to say the right thing, to know what to say and how to reach out to people's intellect, it's what the style of aqidah, it's worthy and deserving of Hazrat Zainab. And all of us, men and women, we should be inspired, we should learn from that specific part of the Zainab's life. There's so much we can learn, specifically in the significance of aql. When you look at right now the contemporary issues in our communities, there's unfortunately sometimes disputes, or unfortunately clashes, disagreement, division. There's unfortunate ifrat and tafrit, which is this concept of people who are excessively doing something, or those who are underperforming and they do negligence. To find a balanced approach is sometimes missing in some communities. And all of that is rooted back to this concept of aql. What is aql? What is intellect? In Arabic language, aql literally means a knot. When you tie something down, and there's a knot, that's where aql and iqala come from. In Arabic language, when they used to ride camels, and in order to make sure that, of course, the camel has to sit down first in order for the strider to come up. To avoid the camel from running away, they used to tie a knot around the knee of the camel. That's the way you park your camel at the time. So the camel will not run away. That was iqala. That's the way you tie the camel down. It will not going to run away. Why intellect is called aql is because what
that force, that power that ties us down from doing something foolish, from doing something that is ignorant, is aql. That is the intellect. The one that stops us from doing something that is wrong or saying something that is wrong, that is aql. On the other hand, jahl, ignorance, is the opposite of that. For jahl, there are three possible definitions. The first is absence of aql is jahl. When there is no intellect, that's what ignorance is. The second one is when your belief is corrupted. You believe in something which is wrong. You're insisting on something that is wrong. An example of that is misinformation, anti-vaxxers, and the list goes on. You believe in something that is obviously by the expert, by the majority of the experts mentioned, that is going to be another definition. Again, I know this will be a controversial point, but we have to talk about it, because according to our scholars, anything that is considered by Ahlul Khibra means the experts on every subject. So at the beginning of this pandemic, if you look at what our mujtahideen, our ulama said about this issue, should we wear a mask or not? Should we get vaccine or not? What should we do? And if you look at the majority of them, again, I say majority because I know every single mujtahid out there and their fatwa on the matter, but majority of them, or at least all the prominent maraji of mujtahideen, they said, listen to the healthcare professional. They are the khibra, they are the expert of the field. Whatever they say, we're going to listen, you're going to listen. That's it. If you're not knowledgeable on the subject, the best thing to do is follow the knowledgeable. That's the whole concept of taqleed and emulation. And we don't know our religion to the point of extrapolation and fatwa and ijtihad. We listen to the one who has that knowledge. When it comes to health issues, when it comes to pandemics related to biology, we listen to someone who has expertise in the field. So ignorance, number one, is absence of intellect. Second is to believe in something which is against the intellect. And the third one, which is also an example of ignorance and jahl, according to the Quran, according to Hvac, is to act against what you know. That's also jahl. You know what's right, you know what's called reasonable, and you still decide to go against it. That's jahl. As we say in Hvac, وَكُلَّ جَهْلٍ عَمِلْتُ, and every act of jahl and ignorance that I acted upon. So it either comes from absence or belief or action. And the life of Hazrat Zainab is an example that in all three levels, we can see the presence of aql and intellect in her behavior, in her actions. So what is aql? Again, this is a literal definition, but again, what is the contextual, or let's call from Islamic point of view? The definition of aql, the hadith says, is what teaches us to find the truth. That's what hadith of Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam. The hadith Imam alayhi salam says that aql and intellect is what helps you to discover haqq. What helps you to reach the truth, that's what aql is. But the question is, that's very vague, we need more details. What do we mean how to reach truth? Because some people, they look at truth as a relative matter. My truth is different from your truth. The way I look at it, my perspective, my angle, it makes it different from you. But no, we're not talking about a relative truth. We're talking about a truth which is universal. When we talk about haqq and what is right, we're speaking from this perspective of Islam, and that is a spiritual and when we come to Islamic truth. And with that is that why we need to re-examine our understanding of jahl and aql. Because in philosophy and in linguistics pretty much, sometimes in order to understand the meaning of something, you need to know the meaning of the antonym, the opposite. That's how you define them. You need them to stand against each other to find a better understanding of the concept. To know about aql and intellect, to discover what aqila Bani Hashim means, we need to also know about jahl and ignorance. And know what a great danger ignorance is to our faith. Because what we see the tradition of Ahlul Bayt, especially Imam Ali alayhi salam, is this warning over and over that an enemy who's wise, the amount of damage that that enemy can do to you is much less, far less than an ignorant friend. Because an enemy, at least you know it's an enemy. An opposition who is even wise in their tactics, at least you know their stand against you. But somebody who affiliate himself or herself with you, with your faith, their ignorant approach is much more destructive than we can imagine. That's why Fatimiyya, as we inshallah approach Fatimiyya, there's not enough time to go in that. Again, we will see how so-called fellow Muslims, what they've done to the daughter of the Prophet. Today, what we see today is happening in Iraq, in Yemen, in Afghanistan, in Pakistan, is so-called by, again, done by so-called Muslims. But either there are those Muslims who have no faith in it, they are there for the money, for the sake of who are sponsoring them, or there are people who they don't care about the money. They truly think when they murder an innocent person, they're doing something good. There are ignorant and foolish people like that. The same way in the story of Karbala, we see that Imam Bakr and Imam Sadiq alayhi salam, they said that our grandfather Abu Abdullah Hussein was martyred by people who performed ghusl of shahada. That they decided to kill Imam Hussein in the morning of Ashura, urbatan ila Allah. They intended that we're going to kill the master of the youth of paradise to get to paradise. That's the level. So now from outside, when we look at it, of course, they were so wrong and they were so ignorant to think of that. But the reality is that still is happening in some shape and form. We need to utilize intellect in every aspect of our religion. Sometimes the way we deal with our children, it comes from ignorance. It's not only going to attract them toward Islam and their faith, to their identity, it's going to push them further away if it's not properly, if it's not done properly. When we think of everything, we have to re-examine this concept. Is it something that we're approaching it with this gift of God, aql? As Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, أَتَعْمُرُونَ النَّاسَ بِالْبِرِّ وَتَنْسَوْنَ أَنفُسَكُمْ? Are you bidding, inviting, talking to others about goodness, about righteousness, while you yourself forgot about it? And then Allah said, أَفَلَا تَعْقِلُونَ? Are you not using your intellect and reason? It's so hypocritical to talk about faith and religion while you did not benefit from it yourself. And that's sometimes the case. We can talk about the magnificent, ideology that we have that we call Islam. Such a rich inheritance that we have from Ahlul Bayt and Ahadith and tradition. But if it doesn't show to my akhlaq, I give an example in the month of Ramadan. I remember I was talking to a group of youth, and there was a conversation that people talk about that, yes, it is important to go to centers. It is, it's the sense of community and being together is such an intellectual concept. To be together, it's essential not only for our deen, but also for our akhirah. One of the brothers, as he was talking, I paid attention, he said, we're doing all this, we're here at the center, inshallah, for our akhirah. But I think that was half of the picture. We're here for dunya and akhirah. Our religion is not about just akhirah. If it is, why in the Quran and why in our prayer, the qunut, we say, رَبَّنَا آتِنَا فِي الدُّنْيَا حَسَنَةً وَفِي الْآخِرَةِ حَسَنَةً وَقِنَا عَذَابَ النَّارِ. We're not the ideology of only focusing on akhirah. To abandon dunya in totality and choose the life of isolation. A masjid must be a center, a place of worship must be a center of community building. This is a place that people can come and count on one another's support for the sake of their dunya. I'm looking for a job, I'm looking for a tutor, I'm looking for somebody to help me to find a place to rent. This is the place. A community is somewhere that we're looking for a headache. We're not looking for a place, okay, I want to come, nobody asks for anything. That's intellectually looking at the concept, the function of religion. The mosque of Rasulullah, Masjid al-Nabi, Masjid al-Quba, the first places of worship that were built. It was not just a place of Salat al-Jama'ah and moving on. It was a place of worship, and it was also a place of knowledge, education. It was also a place for people who did not have a place to stay. Those who migrated from Mecca to Medina, they built a special segment in Masjid al-Nabi, Suffa, the shade for them. They had multiple functions. People who had no job, come to the masjid. People who have issues with getting married, come to the masjid. Family issues, come to the masjid. That's the purpose of the place such as this. It's for dunya and akhirah. And akhirah who will be built, which will be built in this dunya. And again, in that conversation with the youth, I remember said, yeah, it is important to go to community. But again, they were talking about their childhood, that how that when we come to a center, they notice how the parents are very, very nice, very respectful to everyone in the community. They had a big smile on their face, greeting everyone, which is very good. Some people are encouraged to do so. But as soon as we get home, it's a different story. All the calamities of the day will kind of fall in one place. The question the Abla will ask us, we go to a place such as an Islamic center, the community center, which is not just a community center, it is an Islamic center. And we build community around our faith. What is the change that we were able to make in our life? At the end of the day, that's the question. Where was the transformation? Even one small step. That's why the life of Hazrat Zainab is a great example to know how to make change, not an instant change. It's not going to happen instantly, not going to happen overnight. People of Kufa, they're the same one who wrote letters, and later on, they're the same one who betrayed the majority of them at least. But it comes to the point that now they started the stand of the rise of Tawabin, the repenters, join the Mukhtar's movement. There's some change that is happening. There's the blood of Sayyid al-Shahada, there's the word of Hazrat Zainab, there's the word of Imam Zain al-Abidin, all that together makes a change. It takes time. So in order to learn about intellect, I'll finish with the hadith of the one that is the master of intellect and knowledge of the school of Ahlul Bayt. He is the Rais, the leader of the school of thought of Ahlul Bayt. Imam Ja'far al-Sadiq alayhi salatu wassalam. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Imam alayhi salam, again, I want you to think about this hadith, not just to memorize it, but reflect on it. The point of the Imam hadith is always to make us to tafakkur. Quran says, Prophet in Quran doesn't need sheep and blind followers. In Christianity, there's this concept of shepherd and all that, kind of analogy. In Islam, the ayah is this. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says to the Prophet, Qul ad'u ila Allahi ala basira. Prophet, tell everyone who's listening to you that I'm calling you toward God, but with basira. Basira means vision, insight. It's not ru'ya or ra'a, which means to see something. Basira is to see what is truly mean, what is underneath, what's the purpose, the insight. Ad'u ila Allahi ala basira. That's the way I'm calling you. Ana wa man ittaba'ani. That's the way, as a prophet of God, I follow Allah, and that's the way anyone who follows me must do. We don't need blind followers. Again, we don't need skeptics either. by the way, when we say reflection and tafakkur, some people think these are those who always doubt. So there is a doubt. You provide logic, you provide reason, you provide everything. So what if not? So just saying not just to disagree is not being intellectual. Skepticism is not a phenomenal ideology that this generation discovered. This existed in Roman time with the Greeks. It existed, the skeptics. If there is no real truth in the world, everything that it could be said, you can deny it. There's a possibility that could be, again, untrue. Is a constant state of doubt. That's not tafakkur. Tafakkur is that when we hear a hadith from the Imam alayhi salam, the tafakkur is, okay, what this means? What's the role of this tradition in my life? What's the point of it? What's the benefit? Is there something deeper than the surface? That's the tafakkur. So the hadith is simple. Imam alayhi salam said, ثلاث يحجزن الماء عن طلب المعالي. There are three things that they are failing mankind from elevating, from growing. Ma'ali, Ali means the most high. Ma'ali is as you are going higher, as you're growing, as you're developing, advancing. Imam alayhi salam said, there's three things that stops human being from advancing. This is the aql that we need to pay attention. This is the wisdom. What are them Imam said? The first one, Imam said, is asr al-himma. The first one that leads to failure of mankind from development, from growing, from rushd, at-tabayyana rushd min al-ghayy. Imam said the first one is the lack of courage. Himma is courage. If you're someone you always say, I cannot do it, we cannot do it as a community. There is no way that we can accomplish that. If you have no himma, no courage, we will never advance. I've heard from people, the only objective of my faith is, alhamdulillah, I don't drink alcohol, I don't eat pork. That's my greatest achievement in the level of spirituality. Good. I'm giving you credit for that. I'm not saying it's nothing. But this is not the advanced level that we want to earn from religion. Someone like Hazrat Zainab is not ma'asum, right? He's not infallible. He's not one of the 14 ma'asumin. But look at her status. She's not someone who's going to be satisfied with the low level of someone who's just related to Imam Hussain. And be careful. There are those who are related to Imams and they're not good at all. So don't give credit to Hazrat Zainab. Oh, of course Hazrat Zainab must be the way she was. Why? She's sister of Imam al-Hassan. She's a sister of Imam al-Hussain. She's the daughter of Ali Fatima Tuzar. Of course the result is in. An example of that is Ja'far al-Kadhab to a counter argument. Who's Ja'far al-Kadhab? Is Imam Mahdi's uncle. So son of the Imam, brother of the Imam, is related to Imam in multiple angles, right? But the title is Kadhab, the liar. Why? He denied the Imam of Imam Mahdi. After Imam al-Askari salam, he went to the Abbasi Caliph and said, I'm the next one. He usurped the Imamate until the point some people even, they believed him. They went to him, and after a while, of course, like every other situation, anyone who claims that they're knowledgeable, all you have to do is spend some time with them. Eventually, you know if they know something or not. The claim is easy. You can always make a lot of claims. You know, all due respect to all the LinkedIns, just go on the LinkedIn and see how many skills people have on the LinkedIns, right? We learn, right? All we have to do is just, as we try to interact. Somebody say, I'm an imam, I'm connected to divine. I have some connection with Ghaib. So of course, soon, if they're lying, they're going to be exposed. And that happened. Those who were attracted to him, they were following him, they turned away from him. But the title Kadhab was given to him because his name was Ja'far, Ja'far Sadiq alayhi salam, and this is the brother of the Imam. So just being blood relative of the Imam does not make you an honorable person. What we need, Imam alayhi salam said, number one, to avoid failure is the courage, is good ambition. Never say this is, alhamdulillah, I'm not stealing from anyone, as long as I'm not a thief, I'm not a murderer, I'm not an alcoholic, that's it. There's much more I can do. I can be a volunteer in the community, I can be a teacher, I can be a mentor, I can be so many things. Why I'm happy with the bare minimum? In dunya, nobody is happy with the bare minimum. Who's happy with, okay, I'm just happy with minimum wage? Everyone wants to do better. Everybody think of a better future. When it comes to akhirah and deen, somehow we become a minimalist, right? In akhirah, we're a minimalist. 2 rakat salatul fajr, nothing until dhuhr. Astaghfirullah, I have no time for 1 page of Quran. This is Shaykh North Cal, I don't know where you came from, but in Northern California, people are busy. And I understand. But where is the hidden? The courage. I promise you, you want to study school? It will be built. We cannot do it. I'm not saying we should not do the homework. We should do the homework. We should make sure we're able just to have a sustainable plan for it. But there's going to be those who always cry for it. We cannot do it. Always easy not to do something, not to even try it. That's always the best solution for something. So now that's number 1. People, they don't develop, they don't do rush, they don't grow because of number 1, lack of or the shortage of courage. Asr al-himma. The second one, Imam said, is illatul hila. The second one is the cause of failure of mankind is the lack of experience. Illatul hila. What does lack of experience mean? It means those people who don't learn the experience of others. Yes, sometimes we need life and we need to grow older to acquire experience, but there's a gift that is called consultation. La dhahir kal mushawara. Imam Ali said, there is no better supporter. There is no better dhahir, somebody who has your back, than mushawara, than consultation. If you call me for istikhara, again, if you, and there are other people who call me, the first thing I will ask you is, number 1, did you do the research about your decision? I know people regarding marriage, they call and say, can you do shaykh, khira in Arabic language, istikhara. And I asked them, do you know the family? He said, no, nothing. We just got a call. There's going to be somebody come for proposal for marriage. We just want to do istikhara. I said, do you even know the person? No. We just want to know what Allah is going to say about this. This is very common in some cultures, by the way, and I respect them. But what I do is that I will not do that istikhara for you. Why? Because the first thing that you should do is tahqiq, which is the research. Yes, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one who knows better than anyone else, but He is the one who provided us with all these ways that we can understand our surrounding. We have aql, we have eyes, we have ears. Hopefully we use all that to make a decision. That's why if they don't support us to make a decision, a concrete decision, if you do the research and still you are in what is known in Arabic as tahayyur, you're mystified, you're confused after the research. And the second step is to do istishara, mashura, consultation with people who are expert regarding that decision. That will be my advice to you. If you do the istishara, let's say this is about marriage, you ask people around them, his co-workers, family members, you ask, did you talk to them? And if even you did the second part, and still you were mystified, still you were confused, then the third and as a final resort is istikhara, which means seeking khair from Allah, which means, Ya Allah, I'm confused, I tried every other utility and faculty you provided me, I failed, they did not help me, you helped me, what should I do? I did research 50-50, I did consultation 50-50, what should I do? Instead of flipping a coin, we don't flip a coin. Istikhara provide us with guidance. Lack of experience comes from not using the experience of others, not listening to elders. Again, my advice to anyone who hears, online and in person, young people. I know that you think TikTok offers a lot of wisdom. I'm pretty sure you think so. Again, I had an entire youth session just talking about what they heard about Islam on TikTok. So there's a stuff that we think we know. But one good resource that we can learn are the elders talking, just listening to their experience. What they can offer you, no book out there can do. Alhamdulillah, I see the young generation now, they're into podcasts, we listen to a lot of stuff about it. So if you have the patience to listen to a podcast, listen to a podcast which is a live podcast of your grandparents. A live podcast that could be your uncle, your parents, your auntie. That's the experience that you can have. In addition to that, of course, you help them to know that they're not alone, that you appreciate what they have to offer. The third and the last one, and I wrap it up with that one, Imam alayhi salam said, Imam Salih alayhi salam said, what failed man most of the time from ma'ani, from growing is ضعف الرأي, weakness in decision making. ضعف الرأي. If you're not able to make decisions, other people make decisions for you. So sometimes you have to learn how to make decisions. The decision making has process, but the basic of decision making is knowing that there's always going to be an opportunity cost. There's going to be a consequence with every decision. Running away from a decision is not going to help you. Let's say I know people who are undecided in college. I get it. You have to go to school, you have to go to college for the first 2 years, maybe 1 year, 2 years to discover. But I know people 4 years, 5 years, and still undecided. That's too much of a waste of time. People who just jump from one branch to another, undecided. It kind of finds its way into your marriage, it finds its way to your work, is a mentality. It is important to make decisions and learn from bad decisions. Learn from them. But we cannot say, oh, I don't want to make any bad decisions. Sometimes you need to make a decision. I'm not encouraging you, God forbid, to use drugs or do any of those decisions. Always say no to drugs, those obvious things. We're talking about decision. Okay, I don't know what should I do. Should I do, what should I major in? Yes, you don't know, but you have to eventually, after a while, make a decision. You should decide and have a plan for it. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us the tawfiq of using the greatest gift of God for mankind, which is aql, which is intellect, and help us to be among those who utilize it in the best possible way to build a good dunya that is going to, inshallah, build our akhirah on this dunya for us. And we pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to help us be among the people of iqtisad. One of the signs of the people of intellectuals is that they are not in ifrat al-tafrit. لا ترى الجاهل مفرطا كان أو مفرطا. Imam Ali said, I didn't see ignorant people unless they were excessively into something, too much TikTok, too much Instagram, too much eating, too much of anything. Ifrat or tafrit, negligence. Oh, I don't touch a phone, right? I have phobia of this. I don't deal with this. The balance is somewhere in the middle, which is as a struggle, is something we should put effort to find it. It's not natural to us. We don't have a natural state of balance. That's why aql is there. Aql, intellect, is to regulate balance in our life. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant all of us balance for the sake of a better life, for the life that is, inshallah, ultimately will end with success and salvation in dunya and akhirah, inshallah. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ala Muhammad. وبارك على محمد وعلى محمد وارحم محمدا وعلى محمد كما صليت وباركت وترحمت على ابراهيم وآل ابراهيم في العالمين انك حميد مجيد. Ya Allah, hasten the return of the normal time and one Sahih Rasul Zaman. Ya Allah, grant all those who are ill and need immediate shifa and healing. Ya Allah, bless the soul of all Mahkumeen, especially the Mahkumeen of the participant. Ya Allah, grant all the volunteers who work in this community and all the mu'mineen across the world who are advancing the cause of Allah, the cause of Prophet and his family, to do their job with the sincerity and ikhlas and bring, inshallah, success in their path. Allahumma ighfir lana wa liwalidayna wa liwaliday walidayna wa liman lahu haqqun alayna wa li jami'il mu'mineen wal mu'minat. May Allah make the journey of all the travelers safe, especially Mulana Yasin and all the other visitors of Atabat Arabiyat and Ziyarat. May Allah make the journey safe and the Ziyarat Maqbool. Let's remember all the Mahumeen of the sponsors, Mahumeen of the volunteers, and all the participants. بالسورة الفاتحة وصلوات على محمد وآل محمد.
اللهم صل على
for this beautiful speech. So Maulana announced the Fatiha for Marhumin. Today's program is sponsored by Brother Adil and his family for their Balandiya Darajat. Please recite a loud salawat. Please recite Surah Fatiha and 3 times Surah Ikhlas for all your Marhumin. The Marhumin for whom there is no one to recite Fatiha. The name of Marhumin written on monument of Zara. And today's sponsor is Marhumin Sayyid Naeem Ahmad, Mahir Muga, Zahid Hussain, Tehana Azmat Zahid. And Abbas Abbas, if you please come this side. Also, reminder: there's a workshop at ICZ on December 18th and 19th, which is Saturday and Sunday. It will be between the hours of 3 and 7 p.m. The workshop will be conducted by Al-Mizan Institute, and the instructor will be Sheikh Amin Rastani. You all know him well, and the topics of the seminar will be taken by a deep look at it. Jummah prayers, inshallah, will be at 12 p.m. tonight, and every Friday.
So we have one on this issues on night of Jummah. السلام عليك يا أبا عبد الله، السلام عليك يا ابن رسول الله، السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته، السلام عليك يا وارث آدم صحبة الله، السلام عليك يا وارث نوح نبي الله، السلام عليك يا وارث إبراهيم خليل الله، السلام عليك يا وارث موسى كليم الله، السلام عليك يا وارث عيسى روح الله، السلام عليك يا وارث محمد حبيب الله، السلام عليك يا وارث علي أمير المؤمنين ولي الله، السلام عليك يا ابن محمد المصطفى، السلام عليك يا ابن علي المرتضى، السلام عليك يا ابن فاطمة الزهراء، السلام عليك يا ابن خديجة الكبرى، السلام عليك يا ثار الله وابن ثاره والبدر الموتور، أشهد أنك قد قمت الصلاة وآتيت الزكاة وأمرت بالمعروف ونهيت عن المنكر وطاعة الله ورسوله حتى أتاك اليقين. ولعن الله أمة قتلت، ولعن الله أمة ظلمت، ولعن الله أمة سمعت بذلك فرضيت به. يا مولاي يا أبا عبد الله، أشهد أنك كنت نورا في الأصلاب الشامخة والأرحام المطهرة، لم تنجس الجاهلية بأنجاسها، ولم تلبس من مدرهمات ثيابها، ويشهد أنك من دعائم الدين وأركان المؤمنين، ويشهد أنك الإمام البر التقي الرضي الزكي الهادي المهدي، ويشهد أن الأئمة من ولدك كلمة التقوى وأعلام الهدى والغربة الوثقى والحجة على أهل الدنيا، وأشهد الله وملائكته وأنبياءه ورسله أني بكم مؤمن وإياكم موقن بشرائع ديني وخواتيم عملي، وقلبي لقلبكم سلم فأمري لأمركم متبع. صلوات الله عليكم وعلى أرواحكم وعلى أجسادكم وعلى أجسامكم وعلى شاهدكم وعلى غائبكم وعلى ظاهركم وعلى باطنكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. السلام عليكم يا ابن رسول الله، السلام عليكم يا ابن نبي الله، السلام عليكم يا ابن أمير المؤمنين، السلام عليك يا ابن الحسين الشهيد، السلام عليك أيها الشهيد وابن الشهيد، السلام عليك أيها المظلوم ابن المظلوم. لعن الله أمة قتلت، ولعن الله أمة ظلمت، ولعن الله أمة سمعت بذلك فرضيت به. السلام عليكم يا ابن أمير المؤمنين. السلام عليكم أيها العبد الصالح المطيع لله ولرسوله. أشهد أنك قد جاهدت ونصحت وصبرت حتى أتاك اليقين. لعن الله الظالمين لكم من الأول والآخرين ولحقهم بدرك الجحيم. السلام عليكم يا أولياء الله وأحباءه. السلام عليكم يا أصفياء الله وأرجاءه. السلام عليكم يا أنصار دين الله. السلام عليكم يا أنصار رسول الله. السلام عليكم يا أنصار أمير المؤمنين. السلام عليكم يا أنصار فاطمة الزهراء سيدة نساء العالمين. السلام عليكم يا أنصار أبي محمد الحسن بن علي الزكي الناصح. السلام عليكم يا أنصار أبي عبد الله. بأبي أنتم وأمي طيبة وطابت الأرض التي فيها كنتم ففزتم فوزا عظيما. ويا ليتني كنت معكم فأفوز معكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. السلام عليكم يا 29 من ذرية الحسين. السلام عليكم يا مولانا يا صاحب الزمان. السلام عليكم يا شريك القرآن. السلام عليكم يا خليفة الرحمن. السلام عليكم يا إمام الإنس والجان سيدنا عجل الله تعالى فرجك وسهل الله تعالى ما فرجك وظهورك ورحمة الله وبركاته.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.